an off-canvas menu with a hamburger that swaps to a close icon, links that reveal arrows on hover, and a frosted glass backdrop. Let's build it. I'm on my homepage and I'll head into the master. I've got a basic navigation in the header, and we're about to make it a lot more interesting. First, let's restructure the header. I'll grab the nav link, move it out of the nav bar, and drop it right here. Then I'll delete the old navigation. Next, I'll select the header, head to the Add panel, and drop in an icon element. Using the toolbar, I'll change its class to Icon Box Primary L. Then double-click the icon to open the library, search for Menu, and there it is. Now, let's style the header. Set direction to row, align to center, content X to space between. Then, scroll down a bit. Change the background color to transparent. Position to fixed. Increase the z-index so it always stays on top, and anchor it to the top. Let's take a quick look. The header sits nicely above the content. Great. Now for the menu itself. From the Add panel, I'll drop in a new section just above Main. This is the container for the off-canvas menu. I'll rename it to OC Menu to keep things tidy. I'll select the container, and from the Add panel, drop in a menu element. Then I'll select the OC Menu container, and on the Style panel, change the position to fixed. Increase the z-index, but this time less than the header so the menu slides in underneath it, and stretch it across the entire page. It covers everything now, but the header peeks through right where we need it. That's exactly what we want. Now let's style the links. I'll enter the menu by double-clicking it, select the horizontal list, and using the toolbar, change its class to just list. I'll get rid of the second item, then select the menu link. On the Style tab, under Typography, I'll change the size to 11XL, the family to headings, and the weight to bold. Next, I'll add a new subclass to the menu link. I'll call it OC Link. Then change the col gap to XS, which is 12 pixels. From the Add panel, I'll drop in an icon and drag it just before the text. Using the toolbar, I'll set its class to Icon Box Primary L. Then open the library and pick the right arrow. Now select the menu link. Select the OC Link class and switch the state from normal to hover when link. Change the color to heading. Let's give it a quick test. Looks good enough. Back to the normal state. Scroll down and add a new transform. Set to -62 pixels. That value isn't random. It's the left padding on the link, 8 pixels, plus half the gap between the icon and text, 6 pixels, plus the icon size itself, 48 pixels. It shifts the whole thing left just enough to push the arrow out of view. Now let's add a transition to smooth it out. Property, Transform, Duration, 200 milliseconds. All right, let's try it. Nothing happened. That's okay. We need to set the Translate X on the hover state too. Switch to hover, and override the inherited transform back to 0 pixels. Now it works. One more thing. Select the parent item and set its overflow to hidden. Now the arrow only appears when you hover, clipped by the parent until you need it. Pretty nice, right? And hey, if you want more Mosaic tutorials like this, subscribe. I'll duplicate this item 5 more times and update the link text. Feel free to swap these for your own. Then I'll leave the menu. Select the container. On the Style tab, change sizing to grow. All the links now appear centered, and the hover animation is already working. Now let's give the menu that frosted glass look. Select the OC menu container. First, detach the style variable for the background color. Then open the color selector and reduce the opacity a little. The background peeks through now. Then scroll down and add a backdrop filter. Blur, 30 pixels. That's the frosted glass effect. Subtle, but it makes a difference. Now for the icon toggle, select the menu icon. On the Style panel, change the border radius to S, that's 8 pixels. Then, wrap it in a div. Select the icon again and duplicate it. Open the icon library, search for a cross, then rename them. First one to open, second to close. Very creative naming, I know. Next, scroll to position. Change it to absolute and anchor it to the top. It won't look right yet. The div is still static, so the close icon doesn't position itself relative to the div. Select the div and change its position to relative. Now the close icon sits exactly where the open icon is. One last thing on the div, set the cursor to pointer. All right, interaction time. Open the Interaction tab and add a new click interaction. We want odd and even clicks to handle open and close from a single interaction. So let's set up odd first. Select the open icon as the target. Add an action for opacity. Leave initial as is, then 2 to 0%. Select the close icon. Opacity again. Initial to 0%, 2 to 100%. We want the icon swap to be instant, so change both durations to 0 milliseconds. Now select the OC menu container. Add a new action for translate, translate X. Initial to 100%, 2 to 0. Then add a display property. Initial, none. This is important. Display none means screen readers skip the menu when it's closed. At the start of the timeline, set it to flex and shorten the tween duration to 400 milliseconds. Let's preview. And there it is, slides right in. But we can't close it yet though. Back to the editor. Switch to even. That's the close. Duplicate the existing actions. Now just flip the values. Open icon 2 to 100%. Close icon 2 to 0%. Menu container translate X 2 to 100%. For display, reset the values with Alt-click on the labels and set end of timeline to none. Let's see the whole thing. Opens just like before. Links animate on hover. And it closes as we expected. One last thing. Back in the editor, the menu covers everything, which gets annoying fast. Mosaic has a neat fix for this. Right-click the element and select Hide in Editor. It stays invisible while you're editing and works perfectly on the live site. Little quality of life feature that saves a lot of headaches. And that's it. A fully functional off-canvas menu with icon toggle, hover animated links, and a frosted glass backdrop. Built entirely in Mosaic. If this helped, drop a like, subscribe to the channel, and join our community. Links are in the description. See you in the next one.